You're watching Channel 2, NBC.
We're working to win you over.
Newscenter 2 with John McDonald, Jerry Weber, Gary Galvin, and the news team of Newscenter 2.
Good evening, this is the news. The United States and Russia are reported to be very close tonight.
This is Newscenter 2 with Dean Lewis, meteorologist Gary Shore, and sports director Jerry Weber.
Good evening. Welcome to Newscenter 2. At the top of our early report,
From KJRH in Tulsa, this is Newscenter 2 at 10 with Sam Jones, Beth Ringel, meteorologist Gary Shore, and sports director Jerry Weber.
Good evening. 2 Tulsa police officers are in serious but stable condition right now at
Newscenter 2's Oklahoma Today with Karen Keith, meteorologist Jeff Lazalier, and sports with Todd Whitthorne.
Good morning. It's Friday, June 21st, the first day of summer, and these are the day's top stories.
Newscenter 2's Oklahoma Today with Kim Graham, meteorologist Jeff Lazalier, and sports with Jerry Weber.
Good morning. It's Monday, September 16th, 1985, and these are the day's top stories.
From KJRH in Tulsa, Karen Keith and meteorologist Jeff Lazalier. This is Newscenter 2's Midday Oklahoma.
Hello and welcome to Midday Oklahoma.
Live from KJRH in Tulsa, Sam Jones, Beth Ringel, meteorologist Gary Shore, and sports director Jerry Weber. This is Newscenter 2 at 6.
Good evening, everyone. Trouble again at the K County Jail.
You're watching KJRH-TV 2, Tulsa. Live from KJRH in Tulsa, Sam Jones, Beth Ringel, meteorologist Gary Shore, and sports director Jerry Weber. This is Newscenter 2 Nightcast.
Good evening.
Live from KJRH in Tulsa, Sam Jones, Beth Ringel, Nightcast reporter Marty Griffin, meteorologist Gary Shore, and sports director Jerry Weber. This is Newscenter 2 Nightcast.
Good evening.
Live from KJRH in Tulsa, Rocky Madden. Weather with Mike Morgan. And sports with Todd Whitthorne. This is Newscenter 2 Nightcast.
good evening. A gunman walked into a Creek County restaurant tonight and...
Live from KJRH in Tulsa, Rocky Madden. Weather with Mike Morgan. And sports with Todd Whitthorne. This is Newscenter 2.
Good evening. Hot temperatures combined with moist air today, sending the heat index above 100.
Live from KJRH in Tulsa, Marty Griffin. Weather with Mike Morgan. And sports with Todd Whitthorne. This is Newscenter 2.
Good evening.
Live from KJRH in Tulsa, Joe Webb. Weather with Mike Morgan. And sports with Todd Whitthorne. This is Newscenter 2 Nightcast. You're watching KJRH-TV 2, Tulsa. Live from KJRH in Tulsa, Bruce Dunbar, Beth Ringel, meteorologist Gary Shore, and sports director Jerry Weber. This is News Center 2 at 5.
Good evening. Welcome to our premiere edition of News Center 2 at 5.
KJRH-TV 2, Tulsa. Live from KJRH in Tulsa, Bruce Dunbar, Beth Ringel, meteorologist Gary Shore, and sports director Jerry Weber. This is News Center 2 at 5. Live from KJRH in Tulsa, Sam Jones, Beth Ringel, meteorologist Gary Shore, and sports director Jerry Weber. This is News Center 2 at 6.
Good evening. A man holding a grudge set fire to a downtown building this afternoon, but he didn't get away with it.
Live from KJRH in Tulsa, Sam Jones, Beth Ringel, meteorologist Gary Shore, and sports director Jerry Weber. This is News Center 2 Nightcast.
Good evening, everyone. The claim of number one is being heard throughout the Sooner State tonight.
Live from KJRH in Tulsa, Sam Jones, Beth Ringel, Nightcast reporter Marty Griffin, meteorologist Gary Shore, and sports director Jerry Weber. This is News Center 2 Nightcast.
1 minute, 15 seconds.
You're watching KJRH-TV 2, Tulsa. Live from KJRH in Tulsa, this is News Center 2 Nightcast.
Good evening, everyone.
You're watching KJRH-TV 2, Tulsa. Live from KJRH in Tulsa, this is News Center 2 Nightcast.
Good evening, everyone.
Good morning. It's 7:25 and 67 degrees outside. I'm Kim Graham with this News Center 2 update.
From KJRH in Tulsa, this is News Center 2 live at 5 with Jerry Weber, Karen Keith, and Chief Meteorologist Gary Shore.
The Tulsa School Department suspends several bus drivers after discovering their criminal records.
Good afternoon. 8 bus drivers from the Tulsa public school system have been suspended from their jobs.
You're watching KJRH-TV 2, Tulsa. From KJRH, this is News Center 2 live at 5 with Jerry Weber, Beth Ringel, and meteorologist Gary Shore.
More and more of the gates of Keystone Lake have been opening, and that could mean more flooding along Riverside down to Broken Arrow and on to Muskogee.
Live from KJRH in Tulsa, this is News Center 2 at 6 with Jerry Weber, Beth Ringel, meteorologist Gary Shore, and sports director Al Jerkins.
Good evening, everyone. The Oklahoma Tax Commission announced today that the state's tax revenues are down by more than $31 million from this time last year.
Live from KJRH in Tulsa, this is News Center 2 Nightcast with Jerry Weber, Beth Ringel, meteorologist Gary Shore, and sports director Al Jerkins.
Good evening, everyone.
Live from Tulsa's news leader, this is Oklahoma Today.
Good morning, I'm Heidi Browning, sitting in today for Russell Kinsall. Welcome to Oklahoma Today on this foggy Friday. John, is this stuff going to burn off today?
Oh, Heidi, it should.
Live from Tulsa's news leader, this is Midday Oklahoma.
7 people are in jail this morning in Oklahoma City after police found drugs at a daycare center. Good morning, everyone.
Live from northeastern Oklahoma's news center, Jerry Weber, Karen Keith, Gary Shore, and Jeff Lazalier. This is News Center 2 live at 5.
Flanked by President Bush and his cabinet, the nation's first drug czar is sworn in. Good afternoon, everyone.
Live from Tulsa's news leader, this is Newscenter 2 Nightcast.
Good evening, everyone. 2 Oklahoma law enforcement officers are in a Texas jail tonight.
Live from northeastern Oklahoma's News Center, Jerry Weber, Beth Ringel, meteorologist Gary Shore, and sports director Al Jerkins. This is News Center 2.
Good evening, everyone.
Tulsa's 24-hour news source continues.
Good evening, I'm Karen Keith.
And I'm Jerry Weber. We're here with the latest results in Decision 90. The polls across the state have been closed now for about an hour and a half.
Live, Tulsa's 24-hour news source continues.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us. The time now is 8:25. I'm Linda Morton.
Live, Tulsa's 24-hour news source continues. This is Channel 2 News, Midday, Oklahoma.
Good morning. I'm Linda Morton. Welcome to Midday Oklahoma this Friday, November 23rd.
Live, Tulsa's 24-hour news source continues. This is Channel 2 News, live at 5.
Making way for a turnpike could leave pond wildlife high and dry.
Live, Tulsa's 24-hour news source continues. This is Channel 2 News, the 6 o'clock report.
Graham-Rudman budget cuts could really hit home in green country if they go into effect.
Live, Tulsa's 24-hour news source continues. This is Channel 2 News, Nightcast.
President Bush spends Thanksgiving on the front lines in Saudi Arabia and praises America's soldiers.
A local man counts his blessings today as he gets a second chance to learn to read.
And it was a holiday to remember for the Army medics recently called up from Broken Arrow. Good evening, I'm Jerry Weber.
And I'm Karen Keith.
You're watching Tulsa's news leader, KJRH, News Channel 2.
But when I donate to something, I want it to really be a donation to that particular place and not furnish someone's living.
The woman you just heard heeded a word of warning from the Better Business Bureau of Tulsa.
From Channel 2, this is the 5 o'clock news.
A mystery witness now figures in the O.J. Simpson case.
From Channel 2, this is the 10 o'clock news.
Good evening, I'm Karen Keith.
And I'm Jerry Weber. Thank you for joining us.
Now, from KJRH-TV Channel 2, this is the Morning News.
Good morning, everyone. This is a special edition of 2 News in the Morning. We are live in Bartlesville, Oklahoma. It's a beautiful morning and the kickoff of the internationally famous OK Mozart Festival. I'm Deirdre Davis.
And I'm David Bernard, and we are just happy as could be, I guess. What's the expression for that? Welcome back to Bartlesville, everyone, from the Bartlesville Community Center. We're in the concert hall right now. We've
boxes.
Oklahoma's home team. This is 2 News NBC at 5.
And just all through, boxes are up.
Good evening, I'm Karen Larson.
I'm Jay Rickards.
With
Thanks
Jay
very much,
with
Karen.
Keith.
We are live from
You're watching
Good first look, guys. Good
Oklahoma's home
job.
team. 2 News NBC with Karen Larson, Jay Rickards, and weather with Chief Meteorologist Jeff Lazalier. This is 2 News NBC at 5. You're watching watching Oklahoma's home team, 2 News NBC, with Mike Browning. Weather with Chief Meteorologist Jeff Lazalier. And sports with Big Al Jerkins. This is 2 News NBC at 6. You're watching Oklahoma's home team. This is 2 News NBC at 10.
Some big news in Kansas City tonight and a great-looking 4-day forecast. First, though, our top story this evening.
You're watching Oklahoma's home team, 2 News NBC, with Karen Larson, Jay Rickards. Weather with Chief Meteorologist Jeff Lazalier. And sports with Big Al Jerkins. This is 2 News NBC at 10.
Now, live from Tulsa Station for more local news. This is 2 News NBC at 10. You're watching more local news on 2 News NBC. With John Walls, Karen Larson, Weather Authority Jeff Lazalier, and sports with Big Al Jerkins. This is 2 News NBC at 10.
Now, live from Tulsa Station for more local news. This is Channel 2 News at 6.
If golf isn't your thing, maybe classical music can entice you to take the drive up to Bartlesville this weekend.
Now, from the Emmy Award-winning station for Best Newscast, with breaking news, works for you weather, and the problem solvers. This is the station that works for you. Channel 2 News Today.
Happy Friday, everyone. Welcome to Channel 2 News Today.
Now, from the station that works for you, this is Channel 2 News Midday.
The aftermath. The cleanup begins, and millions of people take stock of the damage in the wake of Hurricane Charlie.
You're watching Channel 2 News with Scott Jones, Deb McCaskey, and meteorologist Mike Anderson. This is Channel 2 News Midday.
Welcome back.
From the station that works for you, this is Channel 2 News at 5.
Good evening, I'm Russ McCaskey.
And I'm Karen Larson. Thank you for joining us tonight.
You're watching Channel 2 News with Russ McCaskey, Karen Larson, and Chief Meteorologist Dan Tralkow. This is Channel 2 News at 5.
The governor who announced he's gay and resigned is back at work.
Now, from the station that works for you, this is Channel 2 News at 5.
Good evening, I'm Erin Fogelsong.
And I'm Glenn McIntyre. Thanks for joining us.
You're watching Channel 2 News with Erin Fogelsong, Glenn McIntyre, meteorologist Shane Carter, and sports with Jason Shackelford. This is Channel 2 News at 5.
A major...
Now, from the station that works for you, this is Channel 2 News at 6.
Good evening, and thank you for choosing Channel 2 News at 6. I'm Karen Larson.
And I'm Russ McCaskey. Our top story tonight.
Now, the station that works for you with breaking news, early warning weather, and the problem solvers. This is the Channel 2 News Nightbeat.
It's 4 a.m. in London, and the city looks peaceful.
Now, from the station that works for you, this is the Channel 2 News Nightbeat.
From the station more people are switching to for breaking news, certified most accurate weather, and the problem solvers. This is Channel 2 Works for You Midday.
Welcome back, everyone.
Now, from the station more people are switching to for breaking news, certified most accurate weather, and the problem solvers. This is Channel 2 Works for You at 5. Now, from the station more people are switching to for breaking news, certified most accurate weather, and the problem solvers. This is Channel 2 Works for You at 6.
Good evening, I'm Russ McCaskey.
I'm Karen Larson. Thank you for joining us tonight.
From the station more people are switching to for breaking news, certified most accurate weather, and the problem solvers. This is Channel 2 Works for You at 10.
New tonight at 10 o'clock. It may sound too good to be true, but a Tulsa pharmacy is offering free antibiotics.
Now, from the first Oklahoma station to bring you local news in high definition, this is 2 News Works for You at 6.
Broken glass and mangled metal. It's just about all that's left of picture.
Now, from the first Oklahoma station to bring you local news in high definition, this is 2 News Works for You at 10.
Good evening, I'm Karen Larson. Russ has the night off.
You're watching the only local station in high definition for breaking news and your certified most accurate forecast. 2 News HD with Karen Larson, Russ McCaskey, Chief Meteorologist Dan Threlkeld, and the most trusted name in Oklahoma sports, Big Al Jerkin. This is 2 News HD at 10. You're watching 2 News Works for You in high definition.
2 News Works for You starts right now.
And good morning, I'm Justin Wilfon. Dina Silk is off today.
Live from the 2 Works for You studio in Tulsa, this is 2 Works for You Today with Scott Thompson, Lisa Jones, and meteorologist Kirsten Horn. The news at 5 on 2 Works for You starts right now.
Well, when I heard the boom and all that rumbling, I knew we'd been hit.
You're watching 2 Works for You, now at 5.
Shots fired!
Day 1, the People versus Officer Betty Shelby, charged with killing Terrence Crutcher.
Manslaughter in the first degree against Tulsa police officer Betty Shelby is warranted.
The case sparked national outrage and protests.
Don't shoot!
You are Terrence Crutcher. We all are Terrence Crutcher.
Both sides now ready to battle it out in court.
She is a woman who has dedicated her life to fighting for community simply out of love for people.
What that video showed was an unjustified and unprovoked shooting and killing of Terrence Crutcher.
That high-profile trial starts today in Tulsa.
The news at 6 on 2 Works for You starts right now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Karen Larson.
I'm Brian Sanders. We begin here at 6 with an update to breaking news we first brought you at 5.
You're watching 2 Works for You at 6. The news at 10 on 2 Works for You starts right now.
News travels fast in one small town.
A place where worshipers are meant to feel safe, invaded by a gunman.
Today our home was invaded by evil.
Churchgoers jumping into action to stop the suspect.
And 2 men today left a legacy. But a congregation is going to build on that legacy.
Tulsans remembering those killed.
It's very tragic, and my prayers and condolences to those lost in that tragic event.
We're working for you to discover how churches in Green Country stay safe and what rules there are for worshipers.
You're watching 2 Works for You at 10.
Now, following that deadly church shooting in Texas with new details.
2 Works for You starts right now.
Good Sunday morning to you. I'm Brian Miller. Will Dupree has the day off.
2 Works for You begins right now with breaking news.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us here at 5. I'm Brian Sanders. That breaking news, the Jenks School District put its campus on lockdown at the end of the school day.
Good afternoon. I'm 2 News Chief Meteorologist Dan Threlka along with Taft Price. Now, what we're looking at is not video from yesterday.
You're watching 2 Works for You at 5.
Taking a live look outside. It's a beautiful day here in Green Country, kind of spring break right in the middle of winter.
You're watching 2 Works for You at 6.
Now at 6, chaos at the U.S. Capitol. History unfolding right now after supporters of President Trump stormed the building. The eyes of the world on Washington, D.C. on a day unlike any other in American history. 2 Works for You at 6 starts right now. And we begin now with a live look at the U.S. Capitol. The National Guard now working to restore order.
2 Works for You starts now.
This exclusive body camera footage showing the moments that U.S. Marshals found Jacob Blair Scott in the town of Antlers.
2 Works for You starts now with breaking news.
Good evening, I'm Karen Larson.
And I'm Mike Brooks. That breaking news. An Oral Roberts University student quarantined after returning from a trip to China.
Works for You starts now with a weather alert.
Good evening, I'm Karen Larson.
2 Works for You starts now with a winter weather alert.
Good evening, and thank you for choosing 2 Works for You. I'm Karen Larson. The latest on our winter storm just ahead.
Shock, disbelief, a great deal of sadness.
A close-knit community shaken to its core.
Can you remember anything like this ever happening in this community?
No, I cannot. Not since I've been here, and I've been here 16 years.
6 lives taken, 5 of them innocent children.
Happy, smiling, waving, good kids, beautiful babies.
Tonight, a grieving family left searching for answers.
I was trying to stay strong for my sister, and it's hard right now.
Live team coverage of the tragedy in Muskogee right now on 2 Works for You at 6. And good evening, I'm Karen Larson, live in Muskogee tonight.
You're watching 2 News Oklahoma today.
And good morning. Welcome to Tuesday. Taking a live look at Brookside right now.
You're watching 2 News Oklahoma today.
And good morning. Thank you so much for waking up with 2. I'm Justin Fisher. On this Thursday, it's supposed to be the first day, a big day for the PGA.
You're watching 2 News Oklahoma at noon.
Good afternoon, and thank you for choosing 2 News Oklahoma at noon. I'm Mike Brooks. Glad you're with us. Working on the voice, so kind of hang with me if you can.
The PGA Championship is now underway. We are on location at Southern Hills as the world's best golfers compete to see who is #1. And a group of students see their dream trip turn into a nightmare when they find out the tickets they saved up for aren't real. And the cost of gas hitting a new record in all 50 states. We'll tell you what Senator James Langford has to say on that issue.
You're watching 2 News Oklahoma at noon.
And good afternoon. Thank you so much for choosing 2 News Oklahoma at noon.
You're watching 2 News Oklahoma at 5.
Good evening, and thank you for choosing 2 News Oklahoma. I'm Vincent Hill.
You're watching 2 News Oklahoma at 5.
Thank you for being here tonight. I'm Karen Larson.
You're watching 2 News Oklahoma at 6.
Good evening, and thank you for choosing 2 News Oklahoma. I'm Vincent Hill.
You're watching 2 News Oklahoma at 6.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Karen Larson.
And I'm Naomi Kidd. It is a big day here in Tulsa, and we're covering it all.
You're watching 2 News Oklahoma at 10.
Good evening, and thank you for choosing 2 News Oklahoma. I'm Vincent Hill. Rain.
You're watching 2 News Oklahoma at 10.
Thank you for joining us here at 2 tonight. I'm Karen Larson. Everyone's talking about the weather, so we want to start off by checking in with our chief meteorologist, Mike Collier.
Now, your 2 News Oklahoma first forecast, sponsored by Executive Homes.
Yeah, everybody is talking about the weather, that's for sure.
KJRH-TV 2, Tulsa.